Hello there, Mr. Sutton bringing you the IM23 Honors 311 homework answers on inscribed angles and polygons. For number 1, we want to find the measure of angle A here. Since this is an inscribed angle, it's going to be half of the arc that it intercepts, so half of 84, which means it's going to be 42 degrees. For number 2, we're trying to find the measure of angle G. Since this is an inscribed angle, it's going to be half of this larger arc over here that it intercepts. To find the measure of this arc, we need to do 360 minus these other two arcs that make up the circle. So 360 minus 190, that's going to come out to a 170. So we need half of 170 then for this angle, which will be 85 degrees. For number 3, we're trying to find the measure of angle N. This is an inscribed angle, so that means it's going to be half of arc LM, the arc that it intercepts. So what is arc LM? Well, we've got a semicircle formed by this diameter here, NL. We've already used up 160 degrees over on this arc, so LM must be 180 minus 160, so 20 degrees, which means that its inscribed angle, angle N, is going to be half of 20. So that's going to be 10 degrees. For number 4, we're trying to find the measure of arc RS. The inscribed angle for that arc is 67 degrees, so that means the arc is going to be twice that inscribed angle. So 2 times 67 then, that's going to be, let's see, 134 degrees. For number 5, we're trying to find the measure of arc VU over here. Well, arc VU and arc TV make up a whole semicircle, so if we could figure out arc TV and subtract it from 180, we would get the measure of arc VU. What is the measure of arc TV? The inscribed angle that goes with it is 30 degrees, so that means TV must be twice 30 degrees. So that's going to be 60 degrees that we've got right here. VU then is just going to be 180 minus this 60 degrees, so 180 minus 60 gives us 120. For number 6, we're trying to find the measure of arc WX right here. One way of finding that would be if we knew this WY arc, we could add it together with this 110 arc and subtract all that from 360, because that makes up the whole circle with the arc that we're looking for. Well, what is this WY arc? We have an inscribed angle of 75 right here, so this arc is going to be twice 75, so that's 150 degrees out there. So we have 110 plus 150, and we want to subtract all of that from 360 to get this missing arc. So this is 260. 360 minus 260 gives us 100 degrees for our missing arc. For number 7, we're trying to find the measure of x out here in this arc. So because we have an inscribed angle of 80 degrees, we know that this 80 is going to equal half of the arc that it intercepts, so half of 33x minus 5. Easiest way to solve this equation would be to just multiply both sides by 2 to get rid of that 1/2. So we've got 160 equals 33x minus 5. Adding 5 over here, that's 165. And this happens to be perfectly divisible by 33, giving us an x value of 5. For number 8, we're trying to find the value of x right here. So we've got 2 arcs and a third arc that together form the entire circle. If we knew the measure of this third arc, xy, then we could just add it with these other two and add it up to equal 360. Well, we can figure it out. We have an inscribed angle of 90 degrees here. That means this arc must be twice its inscribed angle, or 180. So we can write 180 plus 81 plus 48x plus 3. All of that has to add up to 360. Combining like terms over on the left, we've got, let's see, 261, 264. If we add all those constants together, subtracting that from 360, that's going to be 96. And then 96 divided by 48 gives us an x value of 2. For number 9, we're trying to find the value of x in this inscribed angle. So this is a little bit tricky to get to. One thing that we can do, though, we know that since we have an inscribed angle of 59 right here, this arc out here is going to be twice that, which is going to be 118 degrees. And we also know that this arc is going to be twice its inscribed angle, so 2 times 3x minus 8 would be 6x minus 16. We know that we have a semicircle here. DF is a diameter, so we know that 118 plus 6x minus 16 all has to add up to 180 degrees. Well, let's go ahead now and solve that equation. So combining like terms, we've got 118 minus 16, so 102 plus 6x on the left. Subtract the 102, we've got 78 on the right. 6x goes into that, let's see, 13 times, so x equals 13. For number 10, we're trying to find the value of x. Now the key to this one is realizing that this inscribed angle and this inscribed angle, they both intercept this same arc, this RQ arc. That means that they equal each other, right? Because if they intercept the same arc, they've got to be the same value. So setting those two things equal to each other, we can just subtract 13x from both sides, and we immediately get x equals 4. For number 11, we've got this inscribed quadrilateral that we're trying to find some variables in. The key on this one is remembering that inscribed quadrilaterals, their opposite angles are going to be supplementary, are going to add up to 180. So we can write m plus 60 equals 180, which gives us an m value of 120 degrees. For this other piece here, we've got 60 plus 2k adds up to 180. Subtracting 60 and dividing by 2, we've got k equals 60. For number 12, we're trying to find the value of these variables in this inscribed quadrilateral. So this one's a little bit trickier than some of the other inscribed quadrilateral problems because they didn't give us all the information about these angles. If they had, we know that angles that are opposite from each other in one of these are supplementary. But we don't have that information. So we're going to have to do this another way. Now, it would be very helpful if we had this last arc over here, this JK arc. We can find that by adding up 54, 130, and 110 and subtracting all of that from 360. So that's going to be, let's see, 240. Let's see, this will be 294. So 360 minus 294 gives us 66 degrees for this JK arc. And now we can use that to help us find some of these other variables. Let's start with A. Now this 3A inscribed angle intercepts the arc KM. So we know it's going to be half of whatever 54 plus 66 is. Well, 54 plus 66 adds up to 120. Half of that is 60. So we can write 3A equals 60. And then dividing by 3, we get the A value for 20. All right, let's do the B's. This 4B inscribed angle intercepts JL. So that's half of 66 plus 110 that this 4B has to equal. So let's see, this is 176. Half of that is going to be 88. So 4B equals 88, which means B must be 22. For number 13, we have angle, let's see, AXB, this angle here, and angle AYB, this other angle. And they're telling us these are inscribed angles. We want to know which statement's true. So we got A, measure of angle AXB is greater than AYB, it's less than, it's equal to, or there's not enough information. The key on this is realizing that these two inscribed angles intercept the same arc. They both intercept arc AB. That means they must both have the same measure, choice C. For number 14, we have this multiple choice question where we've got this GHI angle inscribed in a circle. They're telling us the measure of arc GI out here is 80 degrees. They want the measure of this inscribed angle. Well, this is a very straightforward inscribed angle problem. We know the angle is going to be half of the intercepted arc, so that's going to be half of 80 or 40. Choice A. For number 15, we've got PQ and PR, these two segments, congruent to each other. They're telling us that PQ's measure is 140. Arc PQ over here is 140. Based on the diagram, they want to know the measure of QPR, this inscribed angle right here. So the key to getting this angle is to figure out this RQ arc. If we can figure this out, the inscribed angle is just going to be half of this arc. Well, to figure this out, we also need to know this other arc over here. Then we could add this arc and this arc together and subtract it from 360. What is this other arc going to be? The key on this one is recognizing that we have these two congruent segments coming from the exact same point. That means they're both going to carve up the exact same amount of the circle. So this 140 over here has to be also 140 over here. So then we've got 360 minus these two 140s added together. 360 minus 280 gives us 80 degrees for this RQ arc. And then half of that is going to give us our angle of 40 degrees. Choice B.